jamming to the countdown music.
I thought it was Joe too.
So fun.
Boots and pants and boots and pants. Let me see this real quick.
Okay. Getting all of our technical stuff set up. Trying to see if we can get us live on Facebook too.
Probably not.
Probably not. Hi, viewer. I don't have a fun question for tonight. Fun question.
This is the silence you're supposed to be.
The silence I'm supposed to be filling?
Correct.
Fantastic.
We agreed this.
Hi,
There's
Aaron.
no pressure.
This in advance.
No pressure at all.
Yeah, I don't like pressure, man. It's too much. Let's see. We've talked about where people are from, favorite colors. Yeah.
I never got to say my favorite color last
What is
week.
your favorite color?
Periwinkle. Like
Okay.
a cross between blue and purple.
It's a very
'Cause
specific
I can't choose one.
favorite color.
I'm pretty sure that's just blurple.
There you go. All right. So how about favorite cut of meat to eat? Let's do that one.
Well, my
So-
current favorite is ribeye.
Ribeye.
Yeah. I forgot how good it was. Ribeye, oh my goodness, so flavorful and tender.
Yeah. I like leaner cuts. So do I like New York strip? New York strip?
New York strip.
Yeah. He cooks my steaks for me, so he just buys me what I like. Chuck steak.
Right.
I like chuck steak.
Like chucked because it's cheap.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've been doing chuck on the grill a lot lately. I slice it super thin, salt it, let it sit there for like a half an hour, and then just grill it like a quick grill. And
Strip
oh my goodness,
steak, yeah.
it's so good. I just eat that straight from the fridge. I never thought I'd eat steak cold. But
Yeah.
it's really
And you
good.
cook a lot of, you just cook a bunch right in advance.
I do, because then I throw half in the freezer, and then I keep half out, and everyone's like, they're like, doesn't it get tough from the freezer? I'm like, there's some weird science going on there. It never gets tough from the freezer.
Weird.
I'm working on some technical stuff. There it is.
Yay.
I was trying to go live on my personal Facebook. I don't have any friends, so.
It's all good.
We were in the same chat, though, today. Did he tell you? We were trying to help someone, and he and I were both in the same chat.
No.
Aaron, it was so funny because I saw his profile picture, and I'm like, who's that hippie?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, every once in a while I have a few seconds and I'll get in the chats.
Yeah.
I
Get
usually
into chats on what?
it was on Carnivore Quest's
Their
received
Facebook.
health. Essentially,
Oh.
someone was saying that they feel sad. I'm like, well, this is my specialty.
You don't always have to feel like $1 million.
Yeah.
That is
So.
the thing. All right. So you sent me a story this morning about talking to somebody about how carnivore is not sustainable. Right. And this got me on a whole train of thought today. I've been thinking about this all day long. Right. Because I am a big fan of defining our terms. What do we even mean by sustainable? Like in my mind, I'm like, are we talking about cost? Are we talking about, do I have freezer space? Do I have access to meat? Are we going to run out of cows on the planet? But I think a lot of times sustainability comes down to how long am I going to be able to give up the things that I want to run back to? I think that's what people are talking about when they say it's not sustainable, like 90% of the time.
That's what I think too.
But then I had another thought.
Okay.
Because I was reminded this morning that this guy just hit 500 days on carnivore. Yay. So
Today,
yes, this morning.
Yeah.
And so I feel like sustainability is maybe not the best argument.
It's not. And I mean, when the person said that to me, I was like, well, my mom's been doing this for 3 years. And I mean, she's been on the diet for 4, but mainly carnivore for the last 3. So I'm like, it's definitely sustainable. And it's like, throw me in there too. But for my mom, we were specifically talking about like diabetes and trying to reverse your diabetes and stuff. It's like, no, it's absolutely sustainable. You just have to decide how bad do you want to feel better. So,
Right.
I mean, for like Aaron, he wanted to feel better. He wanted to reverse his diabetes and stuff. Once I got a taste of how good it feels to feel good, I wanted to keep that going. So it's sustainable when you want to keep it going.
Right. What do you think?
I mean, I got 1,000 thoughts on that. And so a lot of times people are like, yeah, sustainable because they want to have an excuse. But what comes to my mind specifically is we've been watching the show Alone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to win alone, you have to hunt big game. And fat is king. No one's going to survive the winter. No one's going to survive out in the woods, eating blueberries, digging, the moss off the rocks.
Yeah.
Eating these rabbits with no fat on them. Like that'll help you a lot more than some of the stuff, but fat is king. So what is really sustainable? And meat, I believe, can be sustainable. That being said, a lot of people are bad stewards of the environment and unethically raise animals and just do it or hunt like to extinction and those types of things. Mm-hmm. So maybe if you got a bunch of jerks out there in charge of this stuff,
right?
But I think it's inherent that what we're designed to eat is meat. It's obvious to me at this point. And I think honestly, my personal opinion on it is that God had us eat meat as a reminder that something has to die for us to live.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, people can survive a long time being vegan and not, but they're eating a lot of stuff. They might be surviving, they might be living, but are they actually thriving?
Right.
And I think, at least for my opinion, that meat and fat is what really satiates and which is the real sustainable thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of nuance to that
there's
too.
a lot to unpack.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And I feel like that was his issue, was just that he didn't feel like he could stick with it because there were too many foods that he liked. And
right.
I'm like, I get that. I do. But I think he's about the same age as I am. And it's like, this is not the time to be playing around, and saying, oh, well, the food is too important. The food should never be more important than your health. So that's weighing things out,
Yes.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of, this is how we've always done things. This is our tradition. On my birthday, you have this. On Thanksgiving, you eat this. And you have to eat these things. And then it's almost like you need to go through a mourning process. This person seeing how you're looking at, you can see how tough that road is going to be. There's hurdle after hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. Fortunately, after you go on a diet for a long time, a lot of those hurdles and walls fall down. And probably some of those things will be okay in a different context. But the fact that you don't want to give them up is usually a sign that it has mastery over you. And that's where the problem, but it happens in all aspects of humans' lives, not when it just comes to food. There's a lot of things that we say we cannot do, or we will not do, or this is how it's always been done. And my dad tells this story. He's like, I was watching my mom cut a ham, and she would, for dinner, she'd cut the ends off the ham and she'd put it in the oven. And I was like, Mom, why are you cutting the ends off this ham before you put it in the oven to heat it up? She's like, I have no idea. That's just the way my mom did it. And so she called her mom and was like, Mom, why did you do that? She's like, well, because it wouldn't fit in my oven.
Nothing to do with
so
anything.
Sometimes we have traditions
right.
out of necessity, and then that's just the way we do stuff. We live in a world where a lot of the necessity that we used to have isn't the same. We don't have as much food insecurity right now.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Right.
Because it's a real thing. obviously I'm watching alone. I'm learning those things. But I know where my next meal's coming from right now. I got a freezer full, and honestly, I'm blessed and kind of probably, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's like first world problems. A lot of my problems are just first world problems. There's people out there that are hungry right now, and they're like, they have to eat a pizza because that's the only thing that someone has handed them, or like go to the food bank and they have to eat what the food bank gives them because that's all they can eat, or whatever it is. So there's a lot of, I don't know, we're spoiled.
We are.
Yeah.
But we also should be thankful for it too. Come on, bring out the questions.
Yeah, let us know if you have any questions about carnivore or anything that has to do with
faith,
family, food,
fitness.
And again, if you missed my jazz hands earlier, Aaron just hit 500 days carnivore today. It's a big deal. So I'm excited about that.
And also, before Nelly starts talking again, check out Nelly Needs Me on YouTube. She is a good friend of this channel. She is very smart when it comes to all this keto, carnivore stuff. She's like, I'm not saying she's like the Rain Man of this, but pretty close. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was going to say, you were talking about how you change things over time, like with this diet, I keep tweaking things. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. So it's kind of funny to me that it took me this long. Like I told on the first live stream I did that I'd given up sugar. And with that went like any mints that I might have, which was the last like stronghold, I thought. And then after that, I was like, well, I don't want to think about Keto Treats. Maybe that's still in the picture. And then God showed me that's not in the picture anymore. And it's been amazing. Like it cracks me up that it took me this long to give those things up, because I've been doing this for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
But what relief it was to give it up. And not only that, there's no more desire. The desire's gone. I wouldn't call it a craving, because to me, I think a craving is more like you do actually need something. Your body's telling you that you need something, whereas you don't need sugar. So to me, it was more of a desire than a craving. But it's just amazing to me that it's completely gone. And now I'm like, well, who else can I tell about this? And who else can I see if I can get off sugar?
Well, welcome to YouTube.
Yeah, there we go. Just keep talking.
Yeah.
What? Sugar's not necessary?
I know, it's a surprise. It was shocking to me too. So, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my liver makes sugar, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'm glad for that information, because I had someone say, they were telling my mom this. I wasn't there to correct them, but they told my mom that, oh, well, you need carbs. I'm like, which ones? Please tell me which ones you need, because I've been surviving without them. So I think we don't need them.
So do you do no carb? Well, that's pretty much impossible. But how many carbs do you try to eat per day in general? Do you have a limit, or just however you feel?
That's however I feel. Now, recently, I was telling Elizabeth about this. I cut nightshades out because I was worried that they are causing a skin issue, which I've had the skin issues for as long as I can remember. And I didn't want to give up tomatoes, but I'm like, you know what? It's not. See, this is what happens when you give up a stronghold, like the sugar. So it's like once I gave up the sugar, I'm like, well, I can give up tomatoes. I should be okay with that. It's making my food list even more narrow, but so I'm pretty much zero carb right now. Say like 2 weeks ago, the most carbs I was having was like if I had tomatoes or tomato sauce or onions. So that's about it.
Awesome.
I don't count.
All right. So when it comes to tomatoes, you're only allowed to eat the ones that you grow.
Yeah. I can only grow kids. I can't grow plants. I kill plants.
But I guess no tomatoes then.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Oh my.
Basil grows in my kitchen, okay, but that's about the only thing that's strong enough to survive me. So.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Keto Treats, is this like pre-packaged stuff that you buy, or is it stuff you make yourself?
Stuff I make, because the Keto Treats have way too many ingredients. And I learned a while ago that I can't do the Keto Treats. They put preservatives in them and stuff like that. And I have a hypersensitive stomach. So, I cannot do the Keto Treats. But that was the thing too, even the homemade stuff. I had like a 50-50 chance of getting a stomach ache from the homemade stuff. So I'm like, I hate to like try to narrow it down. Is it the nut? Is it the sweetener? Is it anything else? And I mean, there's like 10 ingredients in this one cookie that I made, but how am I going to figure out which one of those things is giving me a stomach ache? So I'm like, that was the deciding factor for me to just give them up completely, because God's like, seriously, you're hanging on for the 50-50 chance of getting sick? So I'm like, no, it's not worth it. So I do still make them though, because if I don't make them, my husband buys them. He'll buy regular garbage. So I figure if I can have the Keto Treats on hand, they're somewhat better, and I know what's going on.
Yeah.
The ones at the store, I was waiting to get my blood drawn, and I just, look at these Keto Treats. Let me look at them. I was actually so ticked off.
Yeah.
That is not a keto treat. It's no better than just grabbing a candy bar, in my opinion. It was all trash ingredients.
Yep.
And it says keto on it, and the marketing is lying to people, and that chaps my hide.
Well, we were talking too about ice cream. So like my family has always eaten a ton of ice cream growing up, and so I'm like, I need ice cream, and so I buy like the keto ones, and they're so gross, but I'm still eating them because I'm like, but I need ice cream. It took me a while.
Ice cream
cycle, where it's like, no, I can actually go through a whole evening without eating ice cream and not die. I'll be okay. But like, it's just interesting the way it's like, I was so willing to eat junk just to kind of fill that craving, or desire is probably a better word, when it didn't even taste good.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's
funny.
I
have made. Before I started keto, I had a treat every single night. So it was ice cream, or what I called dessert coffee. So it's like you put the whipped cream on top, you pour peanut butter syrup on it, you throw some M&Ms on there. It's amazing. But when I went keto, that was out. I would still have the cup of coffee. I still do have a cup of coffee at night because it tastes good. I did like dessert for me, especially the flavors I buy.
Yeah, I like coffee. Awesome. You want one of these two?
Click this one.
Up here? Quick. This one?
Yeah.
Okay. B-Dog.
You hit the wrong one.
I hit the wrong one. This one? Yeah. Which one?
The one for my friend, like my one friend. Hi, Daniel. That was good enough.
You lied. You do have friends. So this one we're talking about cravings. Carnivore is sustainable, but I still have bad food cravings. Me too. And so I eat the keto version, even though it doesn't make me feel good, the craving is gone. They keep getting less as bad though. And I find too, when something makes me feel sick or makes me feel not good afterwards, I tend to want it less. So, I mean, that will probably continue to happen, that after eating it and not feeling good, you'll just be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was the issue with sugar with me. It was like my birthday, I had ice cream. I've been dying for ice cream for a while, and my sinuses hurt, my jaw hurt, I got a headache, and I'm like, am I seriously going to keep doing this? Really?
Right.
So one of the hacks I use for when you feel like you got cravings for these types of foods is eat the food you should eat instead.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to really want the other food because you're already full because you ate some food. And then you've been satisfied. And obviously that's not going to always work, but for everyone, but it always works for me.
Yeah. On another chat we did, somebody said, anytime I want chocolate, I make bacon. It's like
a great idea.
Easy replacement. I know the plan.
And then dip it in chocolate.
Sounds yummy.
But over time, in my mind, I feel like it's when something has mastery of me, or like feel like I'm stuck to it. That's when I usually will fight back.
Yeah.
And then in time, you might have some better freedoms for those things when you don't feel like it has such a pull on you. But the way you get over that is by resisting it, eating other foods, and I guess if you do eat it and it makes you feel like crap, that kind of just shows you shouldn't be eating it anyway. So maybe crave something else.
Yeah, I mean, you can retrain the brain.
Yeah.
All right, we got another interesting question on here. Not playing devil's advocate.
Oh, stop.
No, it's not playing devil's advocate. There's more that goes with it.
Okay.
But I do have a question. What's your response to traditionalist Christians that speak of not eating dirty meat and only eating clean meats when necessary?
I mean, essentially, they're talking about the Judaic standards of eating.
Yeah, that's how I'm interpreting that. If we're wrong, tell me. But yes, I'm interpreting it as like the Old Testament law.
I mean, it's there for a reason, and a lot of it, I believe, was potentially to protect the people at the time, also because they didn't have maybe an understanding of disease at that time.
How was God going to explain bacteria when that's not something that they could see? You know what I mean? So with things like shrimp and lobster, it's like we have the means now to thoroughly wash our hands and wash the areas and stuff when we're cooking with those things that can produce more bacteria. But how was God going to explain that to them back then? To me, the easiest thing was to say, don't eat these because they're unclean. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, it could be a complicated thing, but the problem is you could look at that traditional thing, and I can look at it a lot of different ways, but the New Testament is pretty clear on it. When God told Peter, kill and eat, and Peter's like, no, nothing, I don't eat unclean stuff. He's like, kill and eat, and they had a sheet with all the animals and stuff like that. It was for a time, for a reason, and it was to make a point. I think also it's like one of those things as a parent, like sometimes I'll tell my kids something and I don't give them all the information.
Yeah.
Because they're not ready to know it, nor they can't understand it at the moment. And sure, they could have probably had it and been just fine and not been unclean, but these are my chosen people. This is what I'm telling you to do. Now follow these rules. And it's almost like a test to see if you're actually going to do it.
Right.
Do you know how hard it would be to be completely clean in your eating all the time? Not washing your hands. It's actually impossible for any Jewish person to not be unclean in reality. If you actually go through the guidelines, some way, somehow, if it's not eating the food or being around blood or all these things, you are not clean. And it's the point that we can't do it on our own.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get me preaching on here.
Or do. I'm
good explanation now.
Okay, so it's in Acts 10. You're saying you're going to look it up. It's in Acts 10, starting at verse 9, going to about 23. So that'll give you the context for the New Testament part of that. I need to know about a banging PB&J chocolate bacon. What?
Well, it wasn't jelly. There was no jelly involved. It was, I took the Chalk Zero chocolate chips, melted them down, added some peanut butter to it, and then Aaron's shaking his head. And then I dunked the chocolate in it. So that was a keto treat that I took to the club the one night. And then I sent some home with Ashley's husband so she could try it.
You know, that is an interesting point, too. You make keto treats a lot to share with other people. And recently just won a lot of places in the fair in your area without telling people that they were keto. So even people that are highly addicted to sugar, you're swapping things out and saying, here's a better version and not getting caught sometimes.
Or they're just being polite.
Alex, that might be. All right, let me pull this one up. Alex, how do you keep your food lifestyle from becoming an idol? I know I struggle with my junk food being an idol. I imagine it can be a struggle on the other end of the spectrum as well.
I think it can be. I
Definitely.
belong to like a few carnivore groups, and most people there are very, very nice, but there's others where it's become so legalistic where it's like, oh, you put some pepper on your steak, not carnivore anymore.
Yeah, trying to pull your carnivore card.
Yep. You put some cream in your coffee, you're not carnivore anymore. So to me, I think when it becomes legalistic, that might be when it's becoming an idol. So it's like, pull back a little bit, do it the way it works for you.
So God gives us a lot of grace.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something he's telling you to give up and you know it, and you're like going, well, I'm not sure if God's telling me to do it, and you don't want to do it, it has become an idol.
Yeah.
And it's probably the stupidest idol you've ever seen in your life. It does absolutely nothing but hold you down. And it's not even anything that's real. It's just manifested in your own head, and it gets in the way, and it somehow gets a person away from the God that made them, that created everything, and it blows me away. And we just let it happen. And so give it up, do what God says, and then he'll teach you something, and you might get it back another day, but he's never going to give you anything back that you're not willing to give up, for one. And two, when it comes to legalism, that's tough. You swung the other way. But I say personally, I think legalism is good for a season, because that means you're taking it seriously and it's important to you, and what God says is important to you. But over time, you got to make sure you don't dig in and forget what God has to say about it again, and stick to the rules that you made up that you can't even keep yourself, and then insist that other people follow those rules.
Right.
It is tough.
I think so much of it comes down to our motivations, just like anything else that we're struggling with. What's my motivation for switching how I'm eating? What's my motivation for why I'm hanging on to whatever ideology it is? Is it from God? Is it something that I have made this list, so now I'm okay because I followed this list? And like you're saying, I think, then are you projecting that on other people? Well, I eat strict carnivore and you don't, therefore you are clearly inferior. Like all of those kinds of things, I think, really matter.
Yeah. But there is a healthy amount of projecting on people.
Well, yes,
but but keep your mouth shut, and then look in
respected me for a second.
Then look in the mirror. I'm not going to ever tell you to keep your mouth shut. No, that's true. I'll do
that was funny. The timing on that was great. All right. But yeah, so that, I mean, I think they're all saying the same thing. I think it just comes down to our motivations and really how are we treating other people because of it.
I'm really sensitive. I'm not going to tell anyone how to eat. I'll tell them my opinion of it, what I've learned, but I'm not going to say you have to eat that, because that's not what you have to do.
Right.
You can go eat earthworms for all I want. They have a mother. I guess that's carnivore, so whatever. Technically.
Dip them in chalk. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. And we've had the conversation too, where I feel like I am watching him have results. I have wanted to try a couple carnivore challenges. I have done a couple other challenges with him in the past that I've been on board with, but there have been times where I said, okay, I'm not ready for this. Like, I will get there, but I have to get there on my own. Otherwise, I'm just going to be angry and resentful, and that's not a good place for us to be. And so coming to those realizations on my own, I think gives me a lot more freedom to own them than if I feel like I'm being told, like, you have to do it this way, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's not my style.
It is not.
I try to lead by example.
Yeah. And a lot of times, challenges that we've done together, and I think there's a difference in that too.
So if I really want her to eat more meat, like do carnivore diet, I just have to make meat every night, and she'll usually choose that over like whatever she's feeding for the kids.
Yeah. So, oh, you made that? Well, I made you a steak. Do you want it? Yes. What? Yeah. I mean, he's gonna cook for me. I'll eat whatever he gives me.
Yeah, I'm kind of a crutch.
A little bit. Let's see. Hi, Ricky. Yes, chocolate element in coffee is amazing. It's also good with just a little bit of heavy cream and water, like a tablespoon maybe of heavy cream and water. It tastes kind of like hot chocolate.
It does taste like hot chocolate like that.
So that way I'm not
Very good.
putting, because I usually only drink regular coffee. and
I'm
that way I
really
can have
not
it
a
at
big
night.
fan of sweets, but I will like a hot cup of that every once in a
Mhm.
while. I'm like, but I think I like it with the heavy cream. Without the heavy cream, it's not as good to me. But yeah, you could dip some bacon in that.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah,
Oh, Ricky's got a question for you. He
Uh,
says, I had half dozen carnivore raw clams last week.
okay.
Do they got a mama?
Um,
I have no idea how
I'm trying to remember how
clams
the
are made.
life cycle of clams. There's some kind of seed. I have no idea.
Yeah.
They do. It's. I'm pretty sure it's eggs.
Okay.
Watch
They
a lot
got-
of documentaries.
We need to brush
So-
up on our seafood.
Yes, I was talking about seafood today, about eating oysters and then biting into a pearl, a
Mhm.
red lobster, and now my tooth hurts just thinking about it.
Super fun. Let's see. I'm just looking through comments. Y'all carry on. We went a little sideways with the whole chocolate peanut butter
Oh
conversation.
yeah,
So
I'm gonna start ranting about keto treats again.
do it.
Y'all got me hungry. Yeah,
Steak.
we
Eat
had-
a steak.
we actually haven't
Yeah.
eaten dinner because Beth had to work late tonight because some staffing issues. But yeah, we haven't ate dinner. It's like this is past my dinner time.
That's my dinner time.
And all my last 5 meals have all been 1 pound of ground beef. I'm ready for it. I got us a chuck steak.
I've got meatballs sitting in the fridge right now that I'm going to have to throw in the freezer when I'm done with the meatballs. The steak.
So this is a good question because your birthday is coming up.
I already know exactly what I'm going to eat.
What are you going to eat for your birthday?
I'm going to get a tomahawk ribeye.
Ooh. You know, I never see those in real life. I only ever see pictures of them. I don't even think they exist, man.
Costco.
They
I
can't
see
be
them
real.
at either Costco or Sam's Club. I get mixed up. Tomahawk ribeye.
I actually considered buying you one today. Not like for today,
Mhm.
for your birthday.
It's funny because a while back I was thinking, oh, maybe this year I'll just have like maybe I'll try a little bit of carrot cake because I love carrot cake
Yeah.
for my birthday just because I've done so good on it. A little bit of carrot cake is not going to hurt me. Then I was like thinking about me eating some of the frosting and remembering how sweet it was before. I'm like, I'm not sure about that. Then I thought about the tomahawk ribeye. I'm like, that sounds good. I'm like, well, one I'm going, I don't know. The other one I'm like, yeah,
Do it.
yeah. I would buy those every day if I can afford it.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Okay, how many candles are going in your tomahawk? Nope, that was the wrong one.
45 candles.
Yes. Let's see. Yeah, and see, Ricky, so we're talking about treats. We just had a big conversation about treats. And I think there's a difference between missing something and having a fond memory of something and feeling like you have to have it for your life to be complete.
Yeah.
Which
I got a good idea. I'm going to take all that I learned about hoarders and them getting rid of their stuff. Like I tell people to choose memories over mementos.
yeah.
So what you need to do is go out, get the carrot cake, take a picture of it, throw it in the trash, and upload it to the cloud. And every time you want to remember carrot cake and the fun times you had, just get on the cloud and scroll through your pictures of all your mementos that you don't need. Like old bowling trophies and bowling balls. That's how my brain works.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Let's see.
Or get a tattoo.
Let's see. So using chuck steaks for baby briskets.
Okay.
I think that's a good idea. So remind me, chuck rolls are what you got, the giant ones?
I have been buying chuck shoulder clods. It's the cheapest. I can find them whole. and it's the cheapest I could find at like $4.19 a pound. And it's called a chuck shoulder clod, and it's not technically a chuck roll. Do I know the difference right now? I get it from a local butcher shop, and I met the owner the other day. And after I left, I was like, "Crap, that was my in.
Yeah.
That was my in to talking to this guy." But he actually does local feedings of like the homeless and stuff like that.
Oh, awesome!
And so I had the thought. I haven't even told my wife this. I'm gonna bring this guy a donation from the Kilby Life to feed people because he has a butcher shop. I'm gonna give him the donation. I guess this is not my left hand knowing what my right hand is doing, and then so he can feed some people for one, and then two, it's kind of selfish because I'm like, well, then I'll be like, I have a relationship with him. I'll get better deals on meat. Man, it's important.
It's a win-win. I mean,
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at. I'm working angles over here to get some deals and some coupons.
Well, the butcher at my local grocery store is now saving fat for me. So I'll go in on like a Monday morning, and he recognizes me. He'll be like, "Oh, hang on just 1 second. I've got some fat for you." So I'm like, I like that. I know his first name, that's a good relationship there.
Yeah, and he's not charging you much for that, is he?
No, I got like a little over a pound for like $1. So
It's not bad.
it's good fat too. Oh my goodness. You have to try it, Elizabeth. You slice it really thin, salt it, bake it for like, 15 minutes at 400 degrees. I'm trying to convert her because I mean, when you try it like that, it's better than bacon. It's amazing.
I was thinking maybe if I could get her to start drinking a lot, then she would do it.
I mean,
you got a whole new problem.
That's so go to when you talk to that butcher, use a poker face. Don't be too excited. Like say thank you. My mom could my mom could really use this. And then dance out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You got out there.
He asked me. He's like, "What do you use it for?" I said, "I eat it." And he's like, "Oh."
I wonder what he thought you used it for. Like, that's a little strange.
When he was describing to me some of the other fat that they had available, he's like, "Oh, well, we keep like fat from the kidneys in the freezer section. And people make suet out of it." I'm like, I don't want suet. I want to make it and eat it. So
yeah.
I throw it at passers-by or
Eat more meat. But that would go over real well.
It's like it's like my Werther's original.
it sounds like it.
I got issues.
A little bit.
Awesome. Bring those questions.
Yeah.
There's some stuff on here.
Have you tried cheek meat?
Have you tried cheek meat?
Have we?
I have.
Have I?
Yeah.
I feel like I have.
The thing with cheek meat, there's a lot of weird fat and sinew and just it's interesting. So if I'm going to do cheek meat, like I'll braise it for a long time and then chop and incorporate everything together. It's really fatty and really rich. So it's like I got to chop it really well, or it just kind of weirds me out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking there's some kind of like gland in the face that I'm eating. So it's usually really good. You put that in. The problem with it I have found is like stuff like that. It's hard to eat without something else. Like it'll go well with like some rice or some mashed potatoes or in a tortilla or something that's like mellowing out. But those high fat things, they're not that palatable typically unless you add something else. And so there might be something to the reason for that, like too much fat.
Yeah.
Potentially, but a little bit.
Yeah. All
I
right.
have that issue with pot roast. I always think pot roast is help. I can't just eat it like straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on pot roast for me, definitely.
What about this one? What is the best way to freeze a ribeye?
Are you talking cooked or uncooked? Because I mean, I cook them and then I freeze them. I will grill them and then I will freeze them.
And
they're still
you
tender.
like your meat like very well done, right?
Yeah, I like mine well done. So it's saying a lot that it. Don't shake your head at me.
I can't help
It's
it.
saying a lot that it
That's
comes
okay.
out of the freezer and it's still tender and
Yeah.
well done. So
Yeah. So what is your response, Mr. Will eat it almost mooing?
The animal was already dead. You didn't have to kill it a second time.
it tastes so good that way, though. The only way I can eat it.
Personally, I'm one of those people. I like to cryo vacuum, put them in Ziploc the bags, and then just vacuum seal them and throw them in the freezer.
Yeah.
I've heard not to salt them first if you're going to freeze them. So that's the way I do it. But I know a lot of people like just wrap it in butcher paper and get away with it for a while.
I think too, it depends on how long it's going to be in the freezer. So if it's going to be in there longer, or the reason we do it that way is because a lot of times we'll take them out and throw them straight into the sous vide machine and they're ready to go. But if it's going to be a short amount of time, you could probably get away with like butcher paper or some sort of plastic wrap or whatever. But if it's going to be longer term, you want something that's going to keep the air off of it so it doesn't get freezer burnt. For sure. Yeah, so uncooked. So, and then Silver Creek says freeze it before it dries out if it's not cooked.
Yeah.
Alex, you're gonna get in trouble here. It's talking about Nelly. She probably dips it in ketchup too.
Okay, wait. I used to.
I mean, who didn't?
Growing up, that was what I did because growing up I didn't like steak, and I dipped it in ketchup. But,
So do you miss ketchup?
No, I don't miss ketchup. I will eat my ribeye with butter now. So
Yeah.
I miss
it's delicious
mayonnaise.
with butter.
I will still do mustard if I have something where I want to like if I do a lot of ground beef, I'll use mustard to kind of cut it after a while. But
I've been doing sour cream lately. Sour cream, and I'll take some of Aaron's smoke salt and I'll put it on top of the sour cream, and that's what I dip my chuck in.
Okay.
And that's really good.
Speaking of sour cream, have you ever made your own creme fraiche?
Nope.
So this is what we're gonna do. Get a thing of heavy cream and a thing of buttermilk, which I looked at the ingredients of buttermilk. I'm like, why do they add all this weird stuff? But so you fill like a mason jar with heavy cream and put just a little bit of that buttermilk in there and leave it on the counter for a couple days until it gets nice and solid. Put it in the freezer, and then you try that sour cream, or the fridge, not the freezer. Try that sour cream, and you'll be like, oh, this is what sour cream is supposed to taste like.
Ah, I like that idea.
So you're just like growing the cultures in that cream, and you're gonna have a little bit more control of the ingredients. And it has like a nutty flavor. Yeah, I'd put that in my hair if I could.
This one says I made mayonnaise with butter and egg yolk. Have you tried making your own?
I have. I've done it, and it like solidifies, and it's just not as good as the crap at the store. And I've tried the Primal Kitchen stuff with the avocado oil, and it tastes weird to me.
Mm-hmm. And it separates weird, I think.
Ah, man.
Yeah, I don't like the Primal Kitchen avocado oil. It tastes funky. To me, the best avocado oil mayonnaise is like Better Foods or something like that. I get it at Walmart, and that's actually a decent mayonnaise.
Okay.
I always like mayonnaise. I haven't been having it a lot lately because I've been on sour cream.
So I know on that making your own, like if it's just butter and egg yolk, are you adding like any vinegar or mustard to it? Because I think that's what I'm missing. You know, when I'm wanting mayonnaise, I'm missing that tang.
That
Not
bite,
Miracle Whip tang. That's just what sadists eat. But,
send us your recipe.
yeah, send us a recipe. It's a good idea.
And then we'll have Nelly try it and put it on her.
Yeah.
Okay, your feet right there.
Yeah,
I keep meaning to make mayonnaise. I just haven't yet.
I have not had ghee. Maybe I wonder with ghee. Doesn't ghee stay more liquid than butter does?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's softer. It's a little bit softer
Like
but,
tallow, maybe.
Yeah, I've tried it with bacon fat. I've tried it with butter. I have not. Oh, my Wagyu beef fat. I guess I got to get a blending. I really don't do too many sauces because it will make me eat more than I would have otherwise. And I just like making my life dull, I think, sometimes.
Did you ever make hollandaise? I mean, it's like basically the same thing, but
I've made
you ever try
hollandaise in
that?
the past, but not since I've been a carnivore.
Okay.
Do you have to
I
add
haven't tried it yet.
Is that the one with tarragon?
It can be, yeah.
Typically with tarragon. I forgot how to cook on carnivore for 500 days. I used to like chef it up and get all chefy, and now I'm just like, I make carnivore nachos on Sundays, like pork rinds with meat on it.
The kids were like, where are the
With
tacos shells?
Cheese. We had to grate our own cheese because I don't want that packaged stuff that has all the extra ingredients. Obviously, I'm an angry person right now when I look at all these ingredients. Like, why is that in there? Okay, I'm just going to grade this, even though it has like enzymes. I'm like, what kind of enzymes? Can I read the booklet?
It looks like we're adding mustard
Yeah.
to the mayonnaise.
Yeah, so a little bit of, because you needed something to emulsify it.
Yep. Okay, so here's one.
I'll keep
ready?
trying. Send us a recipe.
Yeah, send us a recipe. Do y'all eat any veg, like any homegrown vegetables at all?
We were just talking about that. I recently stopped eating. Tomatoes and red peppers were still a Klingon. I still will have onions and something, but I recently stopped just to see if it would make a difference in the skin issue that I've been having since I was a child. I mean, it might. So, but I think Aaron might eat.
Yeah, this is one of those questions. I don't want to admit anything. So I'm a gardener, and going on carnivore, I was like, okay, what do I do? Because I like gardening a little bit. This year, my garden is the lamest garden you'd ever see in your life. And so I've ate a couple green beans off the thing. I ate a strawberry last week because I grew a strawberry. And there's these little tiny cherry tomatoes by the door. I've probably had a dozen of them in the last month. And they're the best tomatoes I ever ate in my entire life. And I've now lost my carnivore card. But that is like, this is breaking news right here because I'm not a real carnivore because I've actually ate that. But my concession to myself is I'm not buying it. I'm not eating it from the store. If I grew a little bit of this, I'll have a little snack when I'm out working in the yard, like a green bean or in like the strawberries, or like I'm staying away from them. But for me, it's that was the concession. But
yeah.
I don't want to eat strawberries because it has a bunch of sugar in it and stuff like that. So I got it, and tomatoes too. So I have to be careful. But that's breaking news. Aaron has ate some veg.
Yes, and I'm probably
have to give up the card.
Yeah, I'm probably the most relaxed in what I eat as far as vegetables and stuff. I avoid the ones that are obviously like potatoes and stuff like that, but I am a lot more flexible with what I eat than either of these two are.
Yeah.
Although I send Nellie my list of what I eat every day, so she knows.
So my goal was that after I hit a year on the carnivore diet, I was going to go ketovore, but I really don't have, which is essentially 10 carbs. What I heard is real ketovore, you got to stay under 10 carbs per day. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's not that much, but I just don't want to, I don't want to go too far. I don't want to add a bunch of vegetables and stuff like that to my diet for no reason.
Well, and so this comment up here, same person, I feel like in the extreme heat, having the extra minerals from things like cucumber, for example, is beneficial, but I'm new to all this. And I think that kind of goes back to what you're saying, where you can start adding things in at a certain point if you see a reason for it, or it's just a food you really enjoy. But are you missing out on those minerals because you're not eating them? I would say no.
I don't think there's minerals and stuff you're missing out from.
I was going to say, last year I started doing some research. I had to give up cucumbers. And I mean, I've loved them forever. But I noticed it's like if I went out and had a salad for lunch, I'd still be burping the cucumbers at 10 o'clock at night. And I don't feel good.
Yeah.
And I started doing some research into the whole cucumber family, and like watermelons in there, pumpkins in there, zucchinis in there. These are all things that I liked to eat. But I mean, for like a zucchini, I would peel a zucchini, and then the next, like later that day, my hands would be brown from the zucchini juice. And it was like within a couple days, the skin would be peeling.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, if that's what's going on the outside of me, what is it doing to the inside of me? And I mean, it was kind of similar issue with like the watermelon and the pumpkin. They were natural laxatives. And I thought, you know, when I was younger, I thought that was a good thing. But then as I get older, I'm like, that can't be good on my system. So I cut those out, and I feel better for leaving them behind. I don't feel like I'm missing out on any minerals or anything. Just my
It's funny saying this. I think if you like cucumbers and you grew cucumbers and you picked one and you liked eating one, go for it.
Yeah.
Have it. Yeah, have it.
I'm not sure it's going to help any nutrition or the heat or anything, but if it makes your heart happy, I'm perfectly fine with that.
If you like it, if you enjoy it, have it.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it. We actually have some like little gherkins that grew by themselves, and I tried them and they taste like trash.
It's
so
terrible.
I'm not going back to that plant.
Yeah. They're not good.
I'm not dreaming about that when I'm laying in bed at night. I actually have cucumbers pickled in my pantry that I've had there for like 4 years that I put a bunch of sugar in. No one ever eats. I'm like, I don't need to grow another cucumber ever. But these ones were voluntary. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I mean, putting cucumber in your water.
Yeah.
If you're using it as a flavoring, even if you're using it as a flavoring, that's helping you drink more water. Like.
Actually, I bet that does it sounds refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some research on some cucumber.
So, and Nellie, I was gonna point out we got a couple recipes in here.
Oh, nice.
So they're in the comments section if you want to go back and look at them, or Aaron, if you want to go back and look at them.
All right.
We both start laughing because this one popped up. I throw rocks at vegetables. You get out your BB gun, you can shoot them off a fence. I mean, that could be fun.
It's funny because even my kids, my youngest daughter was talking to someone who's like, yeah, I eat vegetables because they're healthy. And she's like, no,
My kids
you don't need them.
Yeah, there's like a commercial for the Super Greens drink, and they're like, so you can get all your servings of greens. And one of my kids goes, you just need to eat meat.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Like, whew.
Well, that's an interesting thing because as a parent and growing up, like you make your kids eat your vegetables.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard growing up, you need to eat your vegetables. And I actually had a brother that would only eat meat and somehow got like sick when he was a kid. So I think it was probably more than that. They thought it was just because you would only eat meat. Obviously, I don't think that's true anymore. But going on the carnivore diet, it started making me think differently. I remember thinking, like, looking at my kids, I'm like, you have vegetables, and now I don't care if you eat them.
Right.
This is weird. What do I do?
My oldest was thrilled. She's like, she had two vegetables that she liked. She liked broccoli and cauliflower. She would tolerate tomatoes and pizza, and that was it. So for her, you know, me changing over to a more carnivore approach, she loved it. She was thrilled.
Now I don't get forced to eat this crap that I hate.
Yeah, so I mean, so now at dinner time, it does look a little bit different where we will tell our kids, like, you need to finish the meat. But if they're not finishing like potatoes or rice or something like that, if we're making that as kind of a side, I don't care. And then the vegetables, it tends to be, is this kid going to ask me for food in 5 minutes when we're done if he doesn't eat it? Or are we doing it to be defiant and not because we actually don't want, like, you know, so like a little bit of an attitude there. But yeah, they get away with not eating a lot more than they ever used to.
Yeah, I never give it to them. Well, actually, every once in a while, it'll either be broccoli or green beans. That's usually all I ever buy from the store.
Brussels sprouts once in a while.
Brussels sprouts, maybe.
Because I like them. He's good to me. 2 years keto, down 35 pounds.
Awesome.
Beef, butter, bacon, eggs. Is that right?
Yeah, she's new to the party here. Yeah.
New to the party. My brain just went completely blank, and I'm like, okay, what do I know? Anyway, I expect I'll be carnivore soonish, hanging on to some things. I feel like I'm in the same boat where it's like I can see the benefits of the carnivore diet, but there are some things I am just not willing to release my grip on yet.
I would say
that's between me and my God. No, I'm just kidding.
I would say not directly to my wife.
You can talk to him and I'll eavesdrop.
Give it a try and see what kind of control you get back. Because it's one of those things, you start fearing the unknown and all the things that you're going to lose out. And it's a kind of a fear-based decision.
Yeah.
Just go for it. And then after time, make a conscious effort to add it back if you want to.
Right.
And take your time too, because I mean, I was thinking last year, I literally wanted to cry thinking about giving up Keto Treats. And so I obviously wasn't in the right place at that time, because it's just the thought of it. You mean I'm never going to get to have this thing again? And it's like, I'm okay with it now. I got to that. It's been a year, literally a year of praying and asking God to help me out with it. And finally I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah. And before we started keto almost 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago?
I don't know. I think we went on and off.
Yeah, but we went on a vacation. We're like, okay, the next day we're going to start doing keto. And I cried, like, there were like 5 days before we started that I had like literal tears of I'm going to miss out on, and what if I want whatever, like, and so I had to kind of go through that mourning process, as silly as that might sound. But then I was able to eat better and feel better. And then when I thought about what I used to eat, I'm like, I don't want to go back to that. Like, I didn't want to give up everything, but I also had no desire to going back to feeling how I was. So
I think it's weird because I feel like any diet we've ever been on, it's been my idea.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. I'll own that.
That's how it is in my house. It's always me.
Yeah.
And my husband benefits from it. You know, I went on Weight Watchers and he lost weight. Mm-hmm. I went on keto and he lost more weight. So, yeah. By just being around me.
I feel like he's really gentle about it too, where he's like, all right, you know, I've been thinking about maybe we should try and do something for our health. What if we do this? And not like, hey, we're doing this, get on board.
Right.
Like, again, he's smarter than that. And I feel like then it makes me feel like I have some buy-in to it too. He's also really good about saying, we're going to do this for this amount of time. And that helps me want to get started. And then again, we started keto like 2 years ago and we haven't really quit. Even though it's kind of evolved on how it's looked.
Even for our kids, we change a lot of things that we do, from like the spaghetti squash lasagna that you do for the kids and things like that. We've just traded some of those things out.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't think they really care
at this point.
Yeah.
Your palate will change.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, like when I started having like convictions or thoughts that, I need to go on the diet, I really would ask myself, like, is this just like, because I think that's what you're supposed to do to be healthy? Mm-hmm. Or is this God like prompting me to do this? And those are tough things to like think through and pray through and try to understand what it is. Because there's a lot of vanity. There's a lot of eating disorders out there.
Yeah. And
I don't want any of those. I just want to do what I'm supposed to do. And that's tough. It's still tough to me because I don't have all the answers to the questions, but I realized it was conviction.
Right.
In the back of my mind, like I'm finding that journal from 20 years ago where I was saying I need to be healthier and watch what I eat. I've been battling through this for at least 20 years. Well, that's about the time that I got, a little roll on the side. Because before that, like I was very skinny. Mm-hmm. I was 195 pounds, 20 years ago or so when I moved here.
Yep.
And a hippie.
Yes,
yeah, and a hippie.
That too. Yeah. I wanted to be in a death metal band.
Yeah.
I won't do my vocals.
Thanks so much. There's no doubt carnivore is better. The brain clarity is my favorite part. You're right. The hold on the keto junk and cream, etc. is strong. I'll be trying it soon, building up to it.
Yeah, and B-Dog, stay in touch. If you're having a bad day, send us a message. If you look down in the description of the videos, I'm not sure if it's on this one, but probably we have like a locals community that we're starting. And you can just go on there and ask questions. Mm-hmm. Join that, and just so you have access to questions, and it's like, say, hey, I'm having a bad day. I'm thinking about this. What would you do? Or, hey, this sucks. I quit. Just let me know. I'll try to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
It helps to have someone to be accountable to.
Yeah, I was going to say accountability is a game changer because, I know I have to own up to it. So.
Well, it's not like, so I keep talking about like the locals thing because I'm trying to build a community. The last thing I need is another thing to try to manage. I'll tell you that much. But I just know the importance of community and accountability. I just know the importance of those things. And I'm probably not going to be the one that always answers everything. It's impossible, but I'll do my best.
Yeah.
That will be the priority.
Yeah.
Right? I'm texting with people every single day on my phone already, which is good. Some of it over diet, some about my walk with Jesus, those types of things. But I can't stress enough the accountability and the community. But there's a lot of communities out there, so just get in one of them.
Yeah. Find the people that are going to say, hey, that can lovingly speak into your life, that you're going to give permission to speak into your life, to say, is that really your best choice? Or what can we do better tomorrow? You can't be somebody you're going to get mad at if they call you on not sticking to whatever commitment you made, but doing it gently or doing it out of love is a big deal and a huge difference, I think.
I had someone ask me, "Is like, are you going to give up on me because I'm having a rough day?" I was like, essentially, I was like, well, no, as long as I'm allowed to say what I feel and think.
Right.
As long as I'm able to be honest with you, say whatever you want. I'll never give up on you.
Well, and I mean, I've sent Nelly messages as like, had a bad day, don't want to talk about it. Instead of sending her my list of food, and usually I get a response back that first addresses my bad day and then reminds me to make better decisions. So they kind of go together. It's like the truth and love.
Make a better choice.
Together. Yep. Oh, goodness.
All right. We're a little over time. All right. Nelly, do you want to tell people about your YouTube channel?
So I post recipes that are, I guess you could consider them keto. Some of them are carnivore-ish, because they'll have like some spices in them and stuff. I also post full day of eating videos. Funny, those don't get a lot of views because actually in the beginning of those also though, as I'm making my breakfast, I will talk about something that I'm thinking about that morning. Whether it's the video I watched or something that I'm going through, something that I'm changing. And then I also, every Monday, I will post something I call Miscellaneous Mondays. Again, it's the same kind of thing where it's like, it's something I've been thinking through, a discovery I made, or something along those lines. So, like 3 videos a week. That's about all I can handle right now. Might be more down the road. Oh, and every other week is a Sunday Sweets video. And that's it's funny, I'm still posting them. I'm not actually eating the stuff. I just did one yesterday where I had my daughter and my husband both taste test because I'm like, I can't eat it anymore. But for those who might want something sweet and you can tolerate it and it doesn't send you into a spiral, be on the lookout for those videos.
All right. Yeah. I just want to say we really appreciate you. Like, obviously you're not like on a strict carnivore diet, but you've been on a health journey and, helping your mom with her health journey. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of insight and you have a lot to add to people's lives. So I really appreciate you like coming on here with us because you know your stuff and you've gained some freedoms back and God has really been able to mold and shape you over this time in the way that you look at food and And that's awesome. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
I appreciate you guys too. It's been so much fun, like getting to know you guys over the last. It's almost been a year now. So
Oh wow, that went fast.
Yeah,
Well,
my,
I was gonna say I think it was like last summer I started following Aaron, and then just I started going back and watching your old videos and stuff like that, and I'm like, your relationship videos and then the baby videos. Oh my goodness, it touched my heart. They were so good. So yeah, good stuff.
oh yeah, we have a lot of videos. I did YouTube for a couple of years before I did carnivore stuff.
Yeah.
So I documented a lot of the stuff with my kids, and my kids kind of are mad at me for doing carnivore stuff now and not stuff with them all the time.
Which is funny because they also didn't like being filmed all the time. So it's like, what do you really want from us, people?
Awesome.
Yep.
All right.
Silver Creek, thank you. B-Dog, Linda, Alex. I know I'm missing names, but I'm seeing some people that are getting ready to go. Thank you guys so much for being here with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And everyone take the time to throw some rocks and vegetables.
You see a whole video coming about that one.
Great advice, and maybe even a shirt
Oh,
Yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
yep.
for me to buy.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you all.
Toodles. Why did I say that?